Hello, my name is Lydia Carroll and I will be presenting on the Bosnia Genocide. In the Bosnia War and Genocide, the Serbian army forces targeted Bosniak and Croatian civilians in a campaign of ethnic cleansing. They took the lives of 100,000 people and displaced over 2 million, making them refugees, and left 20,000 people missing. The Bosnia Genocide took place in Bosnia and Herzegovina from 1992 to 1995. Specific war crimes that took place in the genocidal ethnic cleansing were assault, torture, rape, forcible displacement, robbing, and of course murder. It ended in December of 1995 with the signing of the peace agreement known as the Dayton Accords. The Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was formed in the aftermath of World War II, consisted of Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, Croatia, Slovenia, and Macedonia. In 1991, the Yugoslavian Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina had a population of 4 million with three main ethnic groups. 44% were Bosnian Muslims, 31% were Serbian, 17% Croatian, and 8% were Yugoslavian. And the breakup of Yugoslavia began in 1991. On April 5th, 1992, Bosnia declared independence from Yugoslavia and then created a new state of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Due to a history of ethnic tension, the Bosnian Serbs despised the thought of Bosniak majority in this new state. So they started a military campaign to cleanse Bosnia of its Muslim population. There was a consequential civil war where 80% of the 100,000 people killed were Bosniaks. In July of 1995, Serbian forces slaughtered around 8,000 Bosniak civilians in the town of Srebrenica, the largest massacre in Europe since the Holocaust. The fight ended following the NATO bombing that forced the Serbians to sign the Dayton Accords. History of the ethnic tension in Yugoslavia. There had always been tension between the differing ethnic groups, the Serbs, Croatians, Bosniaks, and Albanians in the Balkans. Croatians had joined forces with the Nazis during World War II to murder hundreds of thousands of innocent Serbian, Roma, and Jewish civilians. During the Croatian War of Independence in 1991, the Yugoslavian army was dominated by Serbs who assaulted and murdered Croatian civilians. In the mid-80s, Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic made the Yugoslavian military 90% Serbian and supported Serbian nationalists in Serbia, Croatia, and Bosnia, convinced Serbians that their Croat, Bosniak, and Albanian neighbors were dangerous and threatened their rights, and overall placed the Serbians in charge in Yugoslavia, simultaneously promoting feelings of nationalism with the Serbian population, contributing immensely to the ethnic tension, feeling of superiority among Serbs, as well as the dehumanization of Croatians and Bosniaks, showing the first 4 stages of genocide: classification, civilization, discrimination, and dehumanization. To go more in depth of the history, in June of 1991, Slovenia and Croatia declared independence, which began the breakup of Yugoslavia. The month after that, the Yugoslav army invaded Croatia, justifying the act as a means to protect the Serbian minority there. The city of Vukovar fell, and the Serbs conducted mass executions of Croatian civilians. Then Bosnia became independent in April of 1992, and the Bosnian Serbs forces immediately launched offensives to control the areas they coveted, and Bosnian Serbs forces joined the Yugoslav army to wreak havoc on Bosniak and Croatian civilians in the ethnic cleansing by torture, rape, murder, and many more heinous acts of violence. There was a bombing of Bosnia's capital known as the Siege of Sarajevo, where various war crimes took place. In the summer of '95, Bosnian Serbs forces prepared to conquer and cleanse 3 East Bosnian towns, Srebrenica, Zepa, Gorazde, and Gorazde, although these areas were declared safe havens by the UN peacekeeping groups. On July 11, 1995, the Serbian army advanced on Srebrenica, and the Bosnians fled and took shelter at the Potokari UN base. But that night, the Serbs arrived and terrorized, raped, and killed the Bosniaks hiding there. The international community became forcefully involved after Serbs' forces took over the UN safe zone of Zepa and bombed Sarajevo market. In August of '95, NATO bombed Serbian army positions for 3 consecutive weeks. The 10 stages of the genocide in Bosnia. So the first stage, as we all know, is classification. Yugoslavian leader Milosevic was quick to highlight the differences between the Croatians, Bosniak, and Bosnian Serbs, creating a barrier between them. They were often classified by the different religions each ethnic group practiced, as well as the places each group resided, which contributed to their barrier. The second, symbolization. The biggest example of symbols was the name Bosniaks that were given to identify Bosnian Muslims. The third, discrimination. Bosniaks were discriminated against largely because of their religious identities, which was Muslim, and the Croatians were discriminated against based on their nationality simply being different than the Serbians. Dehumanization. Leader Milosevic preached to fellow Serbs that Bosniaks and Croatians were their competition, and that Serbs were simply above their neighbors in lots of ways, making Serb civilians see these groups as the enemy rather than innocent civilians. Discrimination became easier once the country started becoming independent. The fifth, organization. Leader Milosevic organized the Yugoslav military to be 90% Serbian, and Bosnian Serbs forces came together with the Yugoslav as well. Polarization. Propaganda was prevalent throughout Yugoslavia. Bosniaks were dehumanized in the media, polarizing the Balkan population into viewing them as evil, and they began thinking that the Bosniaks were looking to kill them. Ridiculous. Preparation mainly began when the Yugoslav army invaded Croatia and used the excuse of protection of the Serb population, when in reality they were preparing to take over Croatia and start their ethnic cleansing of the Balkans. Persecution. Mainly Bosniaks, but also Croatians, were forcibly removed, placed into concentration camps, and raped, tortured, and executed. The ninth, extermination. The mass murder and ethnic cleansing of 100,000 Bosniaks and Croatians. The last stage, denial. The war criminals used mass graves and the burning of bodies to hide the genocidal evidence, and the majority of the Serbian population denied what had taken place for those 3 years. So, my theoretical analysis. Critical and conflict theories. Theorizes that people attempt to gain influence over other groups. We are all part of conflicting groups that compete for limited resources. This could definitely play a part in the Bosnian genocide, as all of these differing ethnic groups and nationalities were placed into one country, Yugoslavia, which resulted in the competition between them and the Yugoslavian leader, Milosevic, trying to put Serbs at the top. Structural functionalism. theorizes that all parts of society work together to create solidarity and stability. In this case, the institutions and groups did not work together to try and create this solidarity. Instead, they stuck to their own groups, creating a disconnect between the citizens. The media, military, governments, and other groups were extremely biased under dangerous leadership, and they all played a part in the dehumanization and discrimination of and against Bosniaks. And thank you. Have a good night. These are my references.